We often hear a wounded narrative painting over the painful reality hidden in the shadows we dare not look. How are we to heal as a nation and make the wounded whole if we are always running from a dark and shameful past? What will it take to remove us from the shadows, to make the wounded whole? Granting us the gifts to connect, learn, be filled with rage, to weep and to weep. Oh my Lord, what will it take to make the wounded whole? In the words of Bell Hooks, how do we hold people accountable for wrongdoings and yet at the same time remain in touch with their humanity enough to believe in their capacity to be transformed? Can we make the wounded whole? Whole from now invisible bonds shackling many still in place. Whole from shots fired. Whole from torture, torment, and terror. Can we remain in touch with humanity enough to believe in a capacity to be transformed? What will it take? And are we ready? Are we willing? As Unitarian Universalist, we have a moral and a theological responsibility to respond with love, grace, and in accountability to those wounded places. In doing so, our highest admiration of healing a hurting world is named and made known. May there be but a flicker of hope to come from those wounded places. May there be a low, soft whisper of love, salvation, freedom, growing louder and louder, awakening the choir of angels, black, queer, elders, children, trans, non-binary, forgotten, loved, unloved, unknown, descending from the heavens upon the earth, adding their voices to the holy chorus of liberation, reconciliation, and of love. Angels are descending from the heavens upon the earth. Angels now, once living, murdered, beat, sold, lynched, enslaved, make the wounded whole. Make the wounded whole. We've heard it time and time again. I've got my hands up. Don't, oh Lord, make the wounded whole. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Make the wounded whole. Lord, who art in heaven, they say. Hallowed be thy name, they say. Thy kingdom come. Thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. make the wounded whole, and heal a sin-sick soul. During a recent weekend spent in Auburn, Alabama, for the installation service of the Reverend Chris Rothbauer, the now settled senior minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Auburn, Alabama, after a 2-year pandemic delay, I had the humbling and powerful opportunity to take a trip down to Montgomery for a civil rights tour and to immerse myself in the rich, often painful history of what it means, of what it meant to be Black in America. I stood where Rosa Parks caught the bus. Lost in my thoughts, I walked the Freedom Trail and wept as I roamed the halls of the Legacy Museum and the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, also known as the Lynching Memorial. All while thinking to myself, we often hear that wounded narrative, one that paints over a painful reality hidden in shadows we dare not look. How are we to heal as a nation and make the wounded whole if we are always running from that dark and shameful past? Do justice, love mercy, tread humbly, says Micah 6:8. Do justice, love mercy, tread humbly, journey towards spiritual holiness, working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. It is written in our proposed 8th Unitarian Universalist principle: do justice, love mercy, tread humbly. But what does it all mean? That's the question, isn't it? A week ago was Independence Day, and I wasn't feeling very patriotic at all. I'm still not. I mean, why would I? With all that is going on in the world, with all of the pain and heartache in this nation, with knowing my ancestral stories, ones that connect back to enslavement, to lynching, to pain. Yet there's hope, isn't there? When speaking about Independence Day and what it meant to her, Jenica Davis Hockett, a youth ministry specialist working at our Unitarian Universalist Association, had this to say: on Independence Day, I recommit to using my freedom in ways that liberate others. Said another way, make the wounded whole. Do justice, love mercy, tread humbly. And so how might we recommit to using our freedom in ways that liberate others? How might we make the wounded whole? That same old question is back, isn't it? How can we heal as a nation if we are always running from a dark and shameful past? We aren't, and we won't. Plain and simple. For as long as we are running from a dark and shameful past, we aren't making the wounded whole. And we must stop running. We must be willing to hear the real, often painful narrative hidden in shadows we dare not look. We must bring them out of the shadows into the light as we journey ever forward towards spiritual wholeness, working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community once and for all. And so, what is the narrative we wish to paint? Is it one of healing, one of grief, hope, love, resilience, or courage? Perhaps it's all of the above, and we each have a choice to make and a role to play in deciding what narrative gets named and how that painting, our painting of beloved community, unfolds. So that wounded narrative, that beloved community, that hidden reality in the shadows, how do we heal a nation, a people, and make the wounded whole? Beloveds, it is okay to stop running. It is okay to stop running, to start loving more, to begin healing as we make the wounded whole, as we choose what role we play, as we decide what narrative gets named, and as we create that painting of beloved community, we can hold people accountable and remain in touch with their humanity enough to believe in the very capacity to be transformed. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is a home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts and lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true as mine. Beloveds, together we will be the ones to make it so. We will be the ones to make the wounded whole. But beloveds, it'll take all of us. It will take all of us. But I have faith. I have faith that we can do it. That we can make the wounded whole. Ashe. Amen. And blessed be.